Hi friends, my name is Gautam Rose and I am the creator of the book What If. The reason why I created this book was to share my own views, opinions, theories related to God, afterlife, and the universe. Let me ask you some questions. Who or what is God? If God created the universe, then who created the God? Why is our universe so big in size and scope? Also, what happens when we die? Is there a soul? Is there a heaven or hell? How was our universe created and how will it end? If God is good or a force of good, then why does bad things happen to good people? Where is God now? Why don't they show themselves in front of their worshippers? Does God governs everything that happens in our universe, or are there rules that are so fundamental in nature that even God or gods have to follow them? If you have ever wondered about the answer of these questions, then you are not alone. For the past 10 years, I too was asking myself these questions on a daily basis, and I spent a lot of time searching, researching, and finding the answers of these questions. But it was not in vain, as I am pleased to tell you that when I used science and logic to explain everything that happened in the past, when our holy books were being written, then all of a sudden various thoughts and answers started appearing in my head. A lot of things started to make complete sense when I simply used science and logic to explain and understand things that happened in our past when our holy books were being written, and I was also able to understand a lot of things that are mentioned in them. But be aware that I am not claiming that I am speaking on behalf of the God, or I am a messenger of God, or these answers are sent to me from the gods like various religious leaders do. I am just saying that these answers, thoughts, views, opinions, and theories are just my own personal opinions and thoughts about these topics. The purpose of this book is to provide an honest and open minded discussion about God, afterlife, and the universe. I have deliberately decided to name this book What If instead of something like a message from the God or any other thing, as I just want to provide my own point of view related to these topics. I want to present these topics in a more modern way using scientific approach, as our holy books are thousands of years old and we have progressed a lot technologically and scientifically since that time. We now understand a lot of things, processes, and mechanisms now that we didn't before. Science and technology have provided us with answers to a lot of questions and solutions to a lot of problems. We now look at our world and the universe in a very different way than we used to before. We now look at them with the help and guidance of science and technology. Even in this age of science and technology, our views on God and religion are sadly still constrained and very narrow. The search for our God is still based on our thousands of year old holy books that are treated as personal property by our religious leaders. These are very narrow-minded people that don't use scientific approach while speaking about gods and various events related to them. Also, a lot of people think that science and technology have no place in understanding God, as it's a matter of faith. Those people, I want to ask a simple question. What if we never challenged anything and accepted everything that is being told to us by our religious leaders on just blind faith alone? Do you think that we would have made any progress in any field ever? I think that if we just accepted everything on blind faith alone, then we would still be believing that our earth is flat and the center of the universe. But because we didn't and based our views and thoughts on scientific evidence and logic, we have progressed a lot in many fields. And frankly speaking, isn't it foolish and dishonest to say that science and technology have no place in understanding and finding God while using smartphone, sitting in an air-conditioned room, using a self-driving car and seeing airplanes and helicopters flying in the sky? It is very clear that we use science and technology in almost every aspect of our life and have benefited a lot because of this. So if anybody thinks that we should not use science and technology in our search for God, then I think that they should also stop using any device made with the help of science and technology in their lives and try to live their lives without them. Because of this backwards attitude that dictates that we should not use science and technology in our search for God, our knowledge about soul, afterlife, and God is sadly very limited. And it's getting worse day by day as people who claim to be followers and devotees of God are very narrow minded people that don't use science and logic while explaining and speaking about gods and various events related to them. And the scientists who have vast and great knowledge about science and technology simply refuse to thoroughly investigate our holy books and various stories and events related to God written in them and consider them as just myths. And the saddest fact is that many locations and cities that were once considered as myths and were mentioned in our holy books and various stories are found in the same exact way as mentioned in our holy books. So maybe there is some truth in our so-called myths and religious books that we are overlooking. I think that we should just stop looking at our holy books and the various stories mentioned in them as just myths and use scientific approach and logic to find the truth, which is exactly what I have done in my search for God and found so many interesting things and answers that I have shared in my book and I will be sharing in these videos. So in a way, the purpose of my book and these videos is to bring science and religion a lot closer. I want the scientific communities to not dismiss our holy books and the stories mentioned in them as just myths and use science and logic to find the truth. I want the religious communities to accept the fact that using science and technology is the only way we are going to find our God, and so they should not dismiss it and keep a positive and appreciative attitude towards it. Be aware that these holy books were not written by the gods and were used to rule over us for a long time. So even though I believe that a lot of things and events mentioned in our holy books are true, I also believe that a lot of things are also not true and were probably added by the people who were using these books to rule over others. So again, I will request you to not accept everything that is being written in these holy books as truth on just blind faith alone. I can guarantee you that after reading my book, you will have logical and believable answers to a lot of questions related to God, afterlife, and the universe. So I urge everyone to please read this book. The link is in the description below.